In fall of 2025, Luminar Neo released a restoration tool. I didn't think I was going to use this tool, so I wasn't even going to cover it. But after playing around with it, I found some utility in having access to this tool. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar, a restoration tool just allows you to take old images and allow AI to enhance it, remove scratches, add color if it's black and white, things of that sort. Now, to be clear, you will need to be on some form of a subscription model from Luminar. That can be the monthly subscription plan, that can be the yearly pro subscription plan if you still have that, or it can be the new ecosystem upgrade pass that they have available. Now, based off of where you are in your Luminar Neo journey, it just depends. If you're brand new to Luminar Neo, I think you get a 1-year pass to all of the generative tools when you purchase a lifetime license to Luminar Neo. So you'll get it for a year. But either way, you do have to be on a subscription, whatever makes the most sense for you. If you want to pick up Luminar Neo and save a little bit of money in the process, consider using the affiliate link in the description box below and the coupon code FWP10 to save a little bit of money when you check out. Now, let's jump into the computer and take a look at using the restoration tool. So here we are inside of Luminar Neo, and you can see I just have a series of images pulled up here, and we're going to jump right into it, and then I'll show you how the tool kind of works. So this is the original image that I fed into it, and this is just a photo that was taken many years ago. And this is my father on the left, my oldest daughter in the middle here, and then my mother on the right. And really all we wanted to do was clean up some of these scratches. This was sitting inside of a shoebox of photos. Best place for images to be, right? So it got a little messed up. And here is what Luminar Neo was able to do with the restoration. Now, you could argue it's brighter, but all you have to do is come into edit, and then I can come to develop. I can pull down on the exposure, and we're just about right where it needs to be. So I'm satisfied with the way that this came out. If I come back over here to catalog, and we'll just make that larger, moving left and right, it cleaned up all of those scratches on the image, as well as the blemish or whatever this discoloration is on my daughter's forehead here, and made the photo something that's usable. And I think that's kind of the utility in a tool like this, capturing and recovering the memories that you've already had, and you just need to restore those images so you can share them with your family and friends across the globe. So let's go ahead and take a look at another photo that was restored. This one here is a photo of my wife's mother's side of the family, and just a Christmas photo that was taken many, many years ago. And I threw it into the restoration tool. And this is what the restoration tool gave us. Now, I have no idea what the photo looked like on the day or what the scene looked like on the day, but I think that this is a really good representation and a restoration of the image overall, because this is not a bad image. It still captures the memory, but this makes the memory a little bit more vivid, a little bit more visible. So that's the reason why I would advocate for this sort of a tool. Now, I do want to show you where the tool kind of falls apart. So this is where, I would say just use this with caution. Always look at the results. And this is an image of me when I was much, much younger than I am today. And for whatever reason, someone put a bottle or a cup, something, got a stain on the image. And so I wanted to correct that. So this was the first attempt, and I was using the full, and again, we'll take a look at that here in a second. I was using the full option to restore this image. And I don't know who this person is, but that is not me. And so I went to just remove the scratches because that's all that was really bothering me about this image. And this is what I got. Now, this is me. And if we were to jump between that image and this image, you can see it kept all of the same facial features. It just brightened the image overall, got rid of all these little spots, these water blemishes, if you will. And then it also got rid of this ring that was going over the image. So I am good with this particular photo. Now, where it also falls apart is when it's trying to restore faces. So if I open this image here, and you can see it's blurry. So I fed it some images where the faces, like we may know who the people are because we're a person, but the AI tool that's restoring these images has no clue who these people are in the image. So it's going to go and try and recover the faces as best as it can. And you can see it adds some artifacts in there that aren't quite flattering, so to speak. So, just beware of that. So now that you've seen the final version of the images, let me show you how you can do it for yourself. So what you'll do is you'll photograph your images with a high megapixel camera. You could use a scanner, but we're photographers, or at least the people watching this channel, I imagine you have a camera with at least 24 megapixels. This is going to be the best option. You're going to want some form of aperture that's going to capture and keep the entire photo in focus. And so I just set mine to f8 and then 1/25th of a second, 125th of a second. And I was shooting these with natural light right next to a window. And so I had my ISO set to auto, whatever the ISO is going to do. You'll have to establish the best settings for your ISO on your camera. But with that said, once I had that, I'll just click on edit here. This is a photo of me when I graduated from high school. So I left a little bit of a border around here because I want to make sure that I'm not like distorting the original image. If you get too close, you can start to get some distortion around the edges. So I left a border around the outside here, and all you have to do is come into crop, and then I use the free crop tool, and we'll just click and drag this down. We'll click and drag this one up, and I do crop into the frame of the image. And that's just because I'm okay with losing some of that information. It's not anything that's pertinent to the actual file itself. And then just click and drag and pull that inside. So now I have my image cropped. If I hit apply, it's going to take up the full real estate of the frame. And so this is now an image ready to go into the restoration tool. Now, of course, if you wanted to work on this, you could come over here and start working on the develop options, but I'm not worried about any of that. I'm gonna just come back to catalog, and then I can click, drag, and drop. And so what this allows me to do is 3 different options. I have full, color, and scratches. Full is going to run both color and scratches, and it's going to run an algorithm that just applies both of those at the same time. Color is only going to colorize the image, so this works great for a black and white photo. And then scratches is going to get rid of any of the blemishes that you have inside of an image, or scratches that you visibly see on the image as well. So for this particular image, I don't really need the color to be worked on. And I'll also mention what I've learned with color is it will mess with the exposure of your image. So if you don't want to mess with the brightness values of your image, then scratches is probably all that you're really going to need to run on a photo. So I'm going to leave it set to scratches and then hit restore. And so what Luminar Neo is doing is it's sending the file up to the cloud, and then it's going to return to the computer so that way we can take a look at it. Now, there are some issues with artifacting based on the faces, and we'll take a look at how artifacting works with this particular image. But the point here is pay attention to what's happening in the image. And if you get something that you don't like, you can always drop the original file back into the restoration tool and hit restore again, and it'll give you a different result because the AI doesn't run the same thing over and over again. It reassesses the photo and then spits out a new image. And there are no token limits of how many times you can use this particular tool inside of Luminar Neo. So if you want to flip 100 times on the same image, you can absolutely iterate 100 times on the exact same image and you won't run into any cap issues. So I'll fast forward to when this particular photo is completed and then we'll take a look at it. Now, if you're finding value in today's content, don't be shy. Smash the like button and subscribe if you're new and you want to see more content just like this. So the final version of that image has completed. So here's the original. And here is the version without the scratches. Now, for what it's worth, this original image didn't have any scratches on it, so it didn't really have to do much. But notice that it did change the color in the image, and that could be an issue. So just pay attention to those sorts of things. You can always go into Luminar Edit and re-establish the color or apply a preset. But if you don't want to change the color, then that could be problematic. Now, let's just talk for a second and identify who is this tool really geared towards. And I think it's for anyone who's taking physical images and digitizing them so that way you can preserve the memories. And if you come across an image that needs to be corrected or fixed because, if you kept your images like me inside of a shoebox, they're going to get all beat up and, terrible place to keep photos, by the way. Anyhow, if you did that, then this tool is going to be a little helpful in restoring some of those photos and preserving those memories. Now, is this for everybody? No. However, it comes along with all of the other generative AI tools where I think a lot of people will get utility out of using generative expand, generative erase, and generative swap, which are all catalog tools that come along with this subscription of either the ecosystem pass or the upgrade pass. So just keep that in mind. I'm not trying to encourage anyone to jump on any of these passes, but if you do find value in a tool like this, then that is the only way of getting access to it, even if you have a lifetime license to Luminar Neo like I do. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this tool in the comment section below. If you're using it, if you're curious about using it, or if you've experienced another restoration tool and you want to share your thoughts on that, leave it in the comment section below. Until next time, I want you to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.